Good Thursday morning, South Carolina weather watchers. I am your meteorologist, Mr. Peterson. Hopefully, everyone has had a fantastic Thursday so far. And let's go on and talk about the weather for your Thursday. Starting off, what's going on throughout the entire state of South Carolina? Well, first off, we do have some rainfall that goes on up here inside of Duncan, going over into Greenville, and then also near Salem and Tigerville, and also up into Landrum, South Carolina. Now, what about what's going on throughout the entire U.S.? You have rainfall that goes on all the way from, again, Georgia, North Carolina, Alabama, the panhandle of Florida receiving on some of that rainfall. Louisiana, near New Orleans, is getting some of that rainfall. Texas is as well. And if you move up towards Missouri, Arkansas, Indiana, Ohio, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, Maryland, and then moving up all the way into New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, those areas are receiving some rainfall. Now, what about our cloud cover? We do have some cloud cover going on right now throughout the upstate of South Carolina, also throughout like the Midlands of South Carolina, throughout the eastern low country, and even the western Grand Strand is also going to be receiving some of that cloud cover. Now, that cloud cover, which we'll talk about that right now, as it continues to push its way to the east, it doesn't quite make it over to like the low country, the Grand Strand area. Yes, you will have some cloud cover in those areas, but by the time it gets there, it's going to be like later tonight, at around like 9, 10 p.m. And then finally, once we get to around past 12 a.m. tonight, is finally when we're going to see most of that cloud cover start to move east and take over the entire state by that time frame. But for the most part, it's going to start off in the upstate and kind of stay cloudy up there. Now, what about our current temperatures? We have around 76 in Columbia, 76 in Orangeburg, as well as 77 in Sumter, 76 in Hartsville, and 77 in Florence, 77 in Conway, 79 in Myrtle Beach, in North Myrtle Beach, 78 in Murrells Inlet, and 78 in Georgetown. We also do have around 79 in Charleston, 79 or 75 inside of Aiken. In the upstate, around 73 in Greenville, 72 in Spartanburg, and even 72 in Gaffney, 74 in York and Rock Hill, as well as 74 in Clemson and Anderson. High temperatures for today, you have around 89 in Greenville, 89 in Spartanburg, as well as 91 in Rock Hill, 90 in Anderson, and 91 in Greenwood, 91 in Newberry, 94 in Columbia, 94 in Orangeburg, and 94 in Barnwell, 94 in Orangeburg, and 91 in Kingstree, Monk's Corner, Walterboro, 86 in Charleston, and 87 in Georgetown and Hilton Head Island. Now for your wind for today, winds will be sustained right now at around a good 3 to around 10 miles per hour. So it's not going to be too windy, but it's definitely not going to be calm for some areas. And if you go into those wind gusts will be gusting from around 10 to 15, maybe even 16, 17 miles per hour today. Rainfall for today, you can see a lot of that rainfall happening in the upstate, and that's going to do with our severe weather. We're going to talk about the severe weather threat. We will talk about the severe weather threat, because I think this is kind of interesting. But a hundredth of an inch to a tenth of an inch goes for Barnwell, goes for Camden, goes for Spartanburg and Rock Hill, tenth of an inch to a quarter of an inch for Greenville, for Lawrence, also for potentially Newberry. Newberry could also be inside that quarter of an inch to a half an inch. Tenth of an inch to a quarter of an inch also for Columbia over there. And then quarter of an inch to a half an inch for Greenwood, Anderson, going into Winsboro. And somebody might even receive a half an inch to an inch of rainfall. It's possible. Not going to be too widespread, though, but it's possible somebody can get a half an inch to an inch of rainfall. And even like down there near the coastal low country, hundredth of an inch to a tenth of an inch is possible. And the crazy score, we're at a 54. If you have no idea what the crazy score is, the score that we see how crazy the weather is inside of South Carolina, we're at a 54 right now. Inside the strong category, strong storms, heavy rain, wind. And so, since we are at that 54, that means that obviously something's going on. And obviously there is the severe weather threat. Now, yesterday, the severe weather threat went all the way down towards the coastal area. So if you did not watch last night's video, you're probably asking why in the world did that happen. But if you did watch last night's video, you probably know exactly why. It is because the convection is just not there in the low country, in the southern Midlands, and the Petey, the Grand Strand. Look, convection is just not there. It's just not. And when we go on and show the models, I'll go on and show that. But that's it for the SPC, though. Excessive rainfall, isolated flash flooding is possible over there for York, Chester, Union, Jonesville, Whitburn, Newbury, Saluda, Edgefield, McCormick, Due West, Anderson, Seneca, Greenville, Travelers Rest, Pickens. Again, that's isolated flash flooding. It's possible in these regions up here inside the upstate, so it's possible as you move into tonight all the way to early tomorrow morning. And I probably should say the risk as well for the margin of risk. Margin of risk of severe weather right here for damaging winds, meaning wind gusts of up to 60 miles per hour with some storms are possible, but again, it's relatively isolated and low. Now for the models. We're going to start off here at 9 a.m. As we go in and push this forward, you're already starting to see some shower and potentially some thunderstorm activity move in from 9 to around 2, 3, 4 p.m. And then as you go to around 7 to 8, 9 p.m., look at all this shower and thunderstorm activity moving through the Midlands and maybe even to the low country a little bit by around 10, 11 to 12 p.m. And the convection there is still not like super strong though. Even as you move into like the PD and the Grand Strand, by 1 a.m., it's just some shower activity. I'm really looking for this severe weather threat as it moves into the upstate, like during the afternoon, and then maybe during the Midlands in like the late evening potentially. But after that, I'm not really seeing too much else there for that severe weather. The tropics, we have Gabriella here. Gabriella is going on its way, 85 miles per hour. It's really lowering now. Tropical storm Humberto is here. It's a 45 mile per hour storm. Still going to turn into a hurricane. Not really too worried about it over here in South Carolina, even though it kind of looks like that it still has that shot, which I mean, I guess it does. But it actually will turn into a major hurricane as well. I just saw that 2 a.m. Monday will turn into a major hurricane. So that's what we're looking for there. And then we also have Disturbance 1 over here. This is the one that I'm the most concerned about. A tropical wave is producing a large area of disorganized showers, thunderstorms, gusty wind across portions of the Dominican Republic and the Turks and Caicos Islands. An area of low pressure is expected to form along the wave tonight or early Friday. When it moves near the southeastern Bahamas, this low is expected to become a tropical depression when it is in the vicinity of the central and northwestern Bahamas in the next couple of days. Interest in Dominican Republic, Haiti, the Turks, the Caicos Island, and the Bahamas should monitor the progress. Gusty winds, heavy rain, fall are likely across that region regardless of development. Interest along the east coast, the southeastern coast of the United States should also monitor the progress of the system. So now we are included. We have a 70% chance of development over the next 48 hours and a 90% chance over the next 7 days. Now that is obviously for this to turn into a tropical depression. And so I will say that the models with this morning have been relentless. What do I mean by that? Pretty much mean that, they've taken kind of like another shift west, and you see some models over here that put a direct landfall over into South Carolina. And this is the hurricane models right here. Look at how much of a difference this is. And I'm not going to be here for long, but just look how much of a difference this is. Look how many wants to go up towards South Carolina. Now, for example, if we look at the one from yesterday, this was the one from yesterday. Yeah, you had a couple going out over there, but most of them was still taking that curve to the east. Look at the new one. That is a huge difference right there. That is a huge, huge, huge difference right there. And so I just, this is just going to have to be something that we watch. It's going to have to be something that we watch just because obviously if this was to occur, we have potentially tropical storm, category 1, category 2, whatever it may be, going over towards us. And so one thing that I also do want to look at, though, if I go back to Invest 94, the GFS right here has some, going up towards South Carolina, but for the most part, it's just all over the place from the main part. And then the GEPS, same thing, just all over the place pretty much. Intensity, I mean, again, go all the way from tropical storm all the way up to category 2, category 3 potentially. So where will this go to? We don't know exactly yet. We're going to have to continue to wait and see what happens. But that's all that I have. I have a more in-depth look at this tonight. So make sure that you are there because Not only will we be doing that, but we'll also be doing the drought monitor. Drought monitor will have our predictions. Make sure that you have your predictions for the drought monitor ready. I'm pretty much just saying, is there a drought in South Carolina or not? But the poll will be inside the chat. Make sure you have a YouTube account if you don't have one already, so you can go in and vote in it. And I will be back tonight, 9 p.m. Everyone have a fantastic rest of your Thursday. And then we'll be to Friday.